All right. Let's see. How are we looking and sounding? All right. Slay, we're good. So, my game is deciding that it doesn't want to be cooperative, and every time I try to refute Desmond, the game just freezes and I can't get it to unfreeze, and every time I close it, it just removes my progress, so I'm just gonna watch it the rest of the way through. Kinda lame, but yeah, at least this way it won't take forever. Let's see. Alright.
Ecology. You sprinkle in a little helpfulness, and suddenly everyone trusts you.
When the murder happened,
I'm really curious what this was, because I've struggled so much if it goes one out.
Desmond is the key.
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was burying my door to begin with. Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapon talk. If this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond say the pieces gun was fired?
I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
Wait, what was that? Wait, hold on. I fired that exact. Are you kidding me? I literally did exactly that. That is. You've actually got to be joking. Okay. Come on, guys.
Got it. Regardless of whether or not Desmond knew about the gun, he definitely wasn't involved in the murder. Eloise can back me up on this.
right. Desmond and I, we were together in the courtyard at the time of Wolfgang's death.
I see. Then both of you can be ruled out as suspects.
Don't just take her word for it. She could be covering for Desmond.
Jeez, if you have a bone to pick with these guys, at least save it for when we're not solving a murder.
Yeah! Why don't you want to believe Eloise?
Ever since the investigation, these two yuppies have been on my case non-stop. They're obviously working together.
Not gonna lie, I see where Grace is coming from.
Okay, Ty.
When Eloise tried to single her out earlier, Desmond was pretty quick to jump in and agree.
He's got like a micro accent, I noticed.
Since the topic has been brought up, I would like to mention something. During my trip to the pharmacy, I believe I saw Desmond and Eloise in the courtyard together.
You also said you were back in the hallways around 8-10 a.m., didn't you? That means those two were wandering around unsupervised. Either one of them could have left the courtyard.
If Desmond was the killer, what would Eloise gain from defending him? Should the wrong vote be cast? Nothing about the rules suggests an accomplice of the killer would be exempt from execution.
That's right! And even if she was exempt, Eloise is too nice to be an accomplice to murder.
Grace, I realize Desmond's irked you, but that's no reason to keep steering everyone down a dead end. Let's move on.
A person who's always steering others down a dead end, huh? I guess they needed a GPS.
Cass. No, thank you, Cassidy. I think we need some more people.
Anyway, we should totally thank Desmond for clearing things up now. Not only do we know he's not the killer, now we know how the killer got their hands on the taser.
Now we know how... What?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Yup, that is word for word what Desmond said.
Right. Good memory.
All in a day's work, baby!
Can you repeat that quote, Cassidy?
Again. But I just said it.
Yeah, but I want you to say it again.
Alright.
Because she being
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Is there something on your mind?
If Desmond's testimony is anything to go by, then wouldn't this mean the culprit has to be male?
What?
If I remember correctly, all the guys were aware of each other's pairings. With that sort of knowledge, a male student could try and infiltrate another male student's dorm.
None of us knew which room we'd be bunking in.
It only takes a quick peek to check if someone's inside or not. Anyone could have done that.
And who's to say the thief didn't barge in before we started bunking?
Or while people were having breakfast.
Seems there was a mountain of opportunities for our culprit to sneak in unnoticed. Doesn't exactly help us narrow things down, does it?
Well, guess this taser gun was a bust.
Look on the bright side. If it's been fired, then it's probably what electrocuted Wolfie. If trying to suss out who stole it isn't feasible, why don't we talk about Wolfie's other injuries instead? You know, the ones that weren't burn marks? Those seem like they could lead us somewhere.
Yeah. Besides the burns on his hands, Wolfgang also had a bruise and a tiny red dot on the back of his neck.
A bruise and a tiny dot, huh? Want to try tackling them in alphabetical order?
Alphabetical order? Now, aren't you full of smart ideas?
No need to thank me. It's only common sense.
Okay, let's discuss the bruise first.
I think it's safe to say the killer didn't use a flamethrower.
Maybe Wolfgang got into a fight? Someone might have attacked him and aimed for his neck.
If you can even reach that high.
Either way, something must have hit him.
What if Wolfie fell over? How spindly he is, one tiny misstep could leave the poor fella bruised for days.
You guys bruise easily, eh? Let's see if you're right. Ulysses, fall over.
No, thank you.
I think
Can even reach that high.
Either way, something.
Yay!
Got it.
Hi! Love to see it.
Kai's right. Something did hit Wolfgang.
Really? Man. And I was only blurting out the first thing which came to mind. Anyway, from how you're wording things, do you know what that something is?
A rolling pin.
Eh?
Wolfgang was hit with a rolling pin.
How on earth did you reach that conclusion?
Ava and I found this pin inside storage closet A, which is just a few feet from the crime scene. Coincidentally, the pin also has a dent.
You sure that's enough to say it's involved? Could just be a flimsy pin.
No. There's something else which solidifies this pin's role in the murder. Handprints. 2 of them on the edge of the pin.
So the killer used the rolling pin to attack Wolfgang?
It certainly explains the bruising on his neck.
They must have wanted him to be unconscious so he wouldn't fight back.
Exactly. It would be easier to drag him into the water if he's not awake.
You reckon the killer purposely put Wolfie in the water?
damn! With one electrified blow, Wolfgang is zapped to bits with the taser! Since he's lying in the water, he's definitely a goner.
Considering the logic typical ethos of the killer's rectitude, especially when governed under constricting pressure. Leaving him catatonic would be the most facile solution.
In April.
I guess it makes sense.
Man, I wish I was playing right now, but it's too late to go back.
So let me get this straight. The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin, and then chucked the pin into closet A?
When exactly did they discard the pin? They couldn't have done it when Eva and I were already downstairs, because the two of us went inside closet A.
Why were you inside the closet?
To find the backup generator, remember? Red and I checked closet B. Damon and Kai checked closet C. Eva and Grace checked closet A. And Jean and Mark checked closet D.
The killer just discarded the pin before we came downstairs.
Yeah, I think Mark's right. Because the killer could run upstairs and go back to their room immediately after discarding the pin.
So let me get this straight.
The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin, and then chucked the pin into closet A?
The killer could run upstairs and go back to their room immediately after discarding the pin.
No, that's wrong!
That's a whole good.
Diana, there's proof the killer fled the underground hallway at a later time, when the tournament attendees were looking for a backup generator. Kai and I heard someone run past our room.
Huh?
Oh man, that's right. We were just exploring the closet when all of a sudden we heard footsteps in the hallway. That's when Damon decided he was gonna follow where the footsteps came from and entered the boiler room.
Did anyone else hear these footsteps?
Nope. Not ringing any bells.
Yeah, Jen and me didn't really hear it over all our talking.
I heard the footsteps. Huh? You did?
Aww.
Well, I initially thought it was my imagination, so I never said anything.
Ashamed to say I also brushed off the footsteps. Thought I was hearing things. However, since other people can attest to hearing them...
Then someone else was on the underground floor with us.
Or she just yapping.
Before anyone tries to bring it up, none of the tournament attendees could have been the person running, since everyone explored the closets in pairs. They all have solid alibis.
I'm sure we can all vouch for that, aye?
Everyone was still in their closets after Damon and I found Wolfgang. So,
considering the footsteps were moving away from the crime scene, I think it's safe to say they belong to the killer.
Wouldn't that mean the killer fled while you guys were exploring the rooms?
Hold up! So the killer had been right next to us?
Boy, that's a given.
Huh? How are you so calm after hearing that? The only thing which stood between us and a murderer was a door. What if they attacked us?
Well, they didn't, so I don't see what the problem is.
Sheesh, you're weird.
Why not run away earlier, though? Fleeing while everyone is searching seems really risky.
Maybe it was a miscalculation?
It's not impossible, I guess.
If not that, then maybe the killer returned to the boiler room after discarding the pin?
Sounds pretty meat-headed if you ask me.
Yes, you'd think a killer would use that moment to run away.
For the two who heard the footsteps, describe the sound.
It was kinda... socky. As in, it sounded pretty soft. Like the person had taken off their shoes.
Saki, huh? Seems this killer was purposefully trying to keep quiet.
'Cause their footsteps were soft?
That seems like a leap in logic.
No, I get what she's saying. Everyone here has socks on, I'm pretty sure. So any one of us could have run down the hallway.
There's a lot of
The thing
pink-haired
with
characters
shoes
in this
is,
game.
not everyone here has the
And
same
three of them are all
kind.
next to
If
each
the
other.
killer had worn theirs, we might have been able to figure out their footwear from the sound it made on the floor. Then we just have to single out the person with that footwear. Man, it would have been so easy to find the killer.
We already can find the killer, though.
Oh?
What?
Oi, are you pulling out leg? I'm completely serious. Picture a map of the building complex in your head. The building with the dorms is on the left, the courtyard is in the middle, and the building with the tree is on the right. Now, try and pin everyone's locations during Wolfgang's murder. Once you do that, the identity of the killer will definitely become clear.
Is the killer someone whose position we can't place?
No, it's not about position.
Eh?
Wolfgang's killer can easily lie about their location during the murder. The only thing
Oh my God, I'm
distinguishing
actually
their
right.
testimony from everyone else's is that theirs can't be corroborated.
Diana! Girl, what'd you do? Did we get into the verdict already? Because that was fast. What was it, John? What casting? Yeah. Diana!
It has to be you!
She's pretty, I like her.
Diana, it's you, isn't it?
Huh? The makeup girl?
She's the only one here without an alibi. Those of us who attended the tournament can obviously be ruled out. And as for those who didn't, Desmond and Eloise were in the courtyard. Toshiko and Ingrid were in the same dorm room.
What about Winona? She never mentioned an alibi.
Give me a break.
Oh yeah, it was your alibi.
Winona and I were in the building with the tree all morning. In fact, yes, Desmond and Eloise should have witnessed us walking over there, as those two were in the courtyard at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
In that case, Diana really is the only one without an alibi.
Guys. If she's the person who fled the boiler room, those footsteps we heard make a lot more sense. Heels make a pretty loud clop sound on hard floors, and the underground hallway's floor is pretty hard. Diana would obviously want to take them off. Also, heels aren't comfy to run in.
Whoa! I didn't even think of it like that. You're totally right, though. Since Diana's the only one here
You're
with
the one who
heels,
brought this up in the first place.
she would have to take them off.
Guys, what are you talking about? Me? A killer? Do you really think I could be a killer?
The fact you weren't at the tournament is incriminating enough.
Not just that. Everyone but you has an alibi.
But I do have an alibi, right, Ava?
She was the one who accused you in the first place. Why do you think she's
You woke up with me this morning, and you never saw me leave my dorm.
During the brief amount of time we were together, I never saw you leave. What you did after I left for the game tournament, however, is anyone's guess.
Ava wanted to help me and Cass set up the tournament, so we told her to swing by early.
For that reason, I left Diana's dorm at 8:05 a.m. I know the exact time since her room has a clock. I probably entered the dining hall around 8:10 a.m.-ish.
So much for an alibi then.
Diana, don't tell me.
Holy smokes, it's all falling into place!
Are we sure there hasn't been some sort of misunderstanding?
It's not possible! Diana can't be the killer! No! I refuse to believe it!
Scrum debate? Scrum debate? Oh, okay, that's not debate. Yeah, sure would be fun if I could play. But I can't.
If it was Diana inside that boiler room, could she be the one who left the blood trail? Because if so, that might be her blood on the knife, too.
Diana's blood? Are you saying she wounded herself?
Wounded herself? What makes you think that?
I don't know! Why else would the killer's blood be on their own weapon?
Did we not already agree the killer was wielding a rolling pin?
Well, maybe they had both. The rolling pin in one hand, and the knife in the other.
Dual-wielding weapons? Holy, this killer's next level.
If it was...
The rolling pin in one.
No, that's wrong!
Man, Diana's been like really helpful this whole trial, so I was like starting to doubt myself a little bit, but
The killer was only
guess I
wielding
was
a
right.
rolling pin during their confrontation with Wolfgang. You can tell just from looking at the pin. There are two handprints wrapped around the edge, as if the killer had been holding the pin like a tennis racket. Which makes sense, because you can swing with more force if you use both hands. And that's what a killer wants when trying to knock out a grown man.
Then, who held the knife?
It wasn't the killer, so it was most likely the only other person in the boiler room, Wolfgang Akire.
What the hell are you talking about? Wolfgang carrying a dangerous weapon? Bullshit!
If you were in his situation, wouldn't you? Wolfgang received an anonymous message asking him to meet in a basement, all whilst in the middle of a killing game. At that point, it doesn't matter how much of an optimist he is. You know better than to come unarmed.
A knife isn't super hard to find either. Wolfgang probably just stole one from the kitchen.
Besides, if Diana is the one who got stabbed, it would explain the blood trail. Think about it.
oh, since she's a makeup artist, she could probably cover it up.
And attacks Wolfgang, getting hurt by him in the process. For some reason, possibly because of the blackout, she doesn't clean the blood trail she's leaving, and returns to her dorm room after.
No! That's wrong!
That's my line.
Huh?
I wasn't stabbed. If I was stabbed, then I'd have an injury. But there's nothing, right? There's nothing on me.
Depends. If a vein got nipped, you'd be seeing blood no matter the size of the cut. Of course, that also means a small cut will need bandaging, which I'm not seeing on you.
You may not see any injuries on Diana, but that doesn't mean they aren't there.
Huh?
If she wanted, she could simply hide her injuries from view. After all, someone like her
Bingo.
has exactly
Got
what
it.
it takes.
I'm so good at this game. I started actively not playing the game.
I got it. Talent.
Okay, physics are
As you as a
crazy.
cosmetologist, Diana could easily cover her wounds.
It makes sense. With the right equipment, she could probably disguise even a bandaged wound.
As Diana's bunking partner, I've seen firsthand how many
Wow,
different
that's
cosmetics are
cool.
inside her room. So unfortunately, I have to agree.
Doing her dirty.
Well, Diana, did I get anything wrong?
No. No. But I...
Wait. Diana, did you just say no? As in, no, you're
what's
not
going
wrong
on
that I
here?
covered up my wounds? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. You guys know what this means, right, guys? Diana basically just confessed!
A confession? Are you for real?
It makes sense, though, doesn't it? Diana got wounded, which proves she got in a fight with Wolfgang, which means all that stuff about Wolfgang going to the boiler room, all that stuff really did happen.
I see now what you were saying. Diana, she lured Wolfgang to the boiler room by writing him that note. And when he arrived, she attacked him and killed him. And now, she's been lying this entire trial, hoping we would never suspect her. Yeah! How cruel!
Diana, It wasn't me!
Still decent amount of time left in the trial, so...
It wasn't me!
100% sold on Diana, but...
To think she could preach about
Also,
friendship
Damon's
after
silence
committing a
there is
violent
also making me think he's
And then try and sentence the rest of us to punishment.
Golly, you're right. If we voted for the wrong person, we would have been executed.
Ah, that's so fucked! Seriously, Diana? What the hell is your damage?
Can we at least hear Diana's side of the story?
Her side?
Well, you know, Diana has, I just think it's fair we listen.
It doesn't matter what she says. Look at the evidence. This case, it's closed. We know who the killer is. If you really want to ask for Diana's side of the story, then do it after the vote. No! No! No!
That's right. You have to vote for the killer. Diana, I've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that she's the killer. I've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt, so...
No. No. No.
Why is it that when I hear her cry, I get strange nagging... Okay, why is a tiny part of me want to believe what she's saying? Can't talk, apparently. Why, all of a sudden, do I doubt myself? So is it not Diana?
Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got there, she killed him immediately.
Then she fled the crime scene, hoping the rest of us would never learn the truth.
How could you, Diana? Poor Wolfie was only trying to keep us together.
But I would never murder Wolfgang.
If you don't have an alibi, then you obviously did.
But I
wanted to believe so badly that you were innocent. Why didn't I see you for who you were?
If this goes on any longer, I'm gonna be sick.
What are we waiting for then? Let's get this over with and vote!
Is Diana telling the truth? How is that possible when I already know the truth? be possible. Not unless...
Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got there, she killed him.
No, that's wrong!
Oh, I would not have gotten that if I was playing.
Hold on. Grace, you're overlooking a crucial detail. Do you recall the note I found in Wolfgang's blazer pocket?
This was something to do with
It asked him to meet in the boiler room.
which I just have not been paying attention to.
According to the Tozu tablet, he died over an hour later at 9:35 a.m. That means Wolfgang didn't die right after he got to the boiler room.
What's your point?
My point is that the killer had no reason to lure Wolfgang to the boiler room and then wait over an hour to kill him. There's no guarantee another person will enter the room during that time. It's in the killer's best interest to be in and out of there as fast as possible. When we originally discussed the note, we lacked the context to properly understand this time discrepancy. But if we go with the idea that Diana killed Wolfgang immediately, then that discrepancy becomes all too clear.
How do you know Wolfgang didn't just arrive late?
He was already on his way when I ran into him at 8:10 a.m. He must have arrived on time.
Same goes for the killer. I doubt Wolfgang would stay in the boiler room for long if no one came to meet him. For that reason, we can assume Wolfgang was knocked unconscious soon after he arrived. But there's such a long period of time between him being knocked out and him being killed. Unless you want to tell me he and Diana were in an hour-long struggle, then I'm sure there's more to the mystery here.
Shut the fuck up!
Oh, okay, Grace. Alright, Queen.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you see this is a trick? All of Diana's blubbering and crying is just a farce to make us think she's innocent.
I wouldn't fall for a farce like that. My only concern is the evidence not adding up.
If you're still not convinced Diana is the killer, then let me show you something you overlooked. I call it undeniable fucking proof! I don't give a damn what Diana says. Not only is she the one person without an alibi, the blood from her wounds places her inside the exact same room where Wolfgang died. How could the killer be anyone but her?
If Diana lured Wolfgang downstairs, why would she take over an hour to kill him? It doesn't make sense. Not when there's a risk of someone else entering the boiler room.
What risk? Diana wouldn't have to worry about anyone walking in because she could just lock the fucking door. Boom. Look at that. No intruders.
Oh.
Now take your argument and shove it up your ass.
Grace seems to think... Okay.
Your ass!
Slow down, David. Grace seems to think she knows more about the crime scene than I do. If that were true, she would have already realized the flaw in her argument.
What risk? Diana wouldn't have to worry about anyone walking in because she could just lock the fucking door.
I'll cut through those words.
The boiler room door can't be relied upon here. If Diana locked it, she would be trapping herself inside the boiler room.
What?
The doorknob has been flipped so that the keyhole faces inside, while the lock faces outside. Had you investigated the crime scene more closely, you might have realized this detail sooner. In any case, locking the door would lock everyone inside the room, not outside. If Diana was the killer, she'd be better off leaving the door open.
How the heck do you even flip a doorknob? Sounds like something only a tradesperson could do.
Meh. You really think so?
Yo, it's not Diana.
Swapping a doorknob is
I think
easy.
it is.
Well, last time I did anything like it was a while ago, but everyone here knows knobs are screwable, right? What you're doing, you can rotate the doorknob quick smart.
You can swap a doorknob? Then I guess anyone can.
Right on! Wait, are you saying that like it's a bad thing, or...?
Is that why Diana remained in the boiler room after Wolfgang died? She had been locked inside?
What do you make of the footsteps then? If they were Diana's, it would imply she escaped the boiler room. How do you suppose she did that?
Jet, I'm kind of sensitive because it would be really easy for him to hide any wounds he got. And he also wasn't in the... No, he was in the group. I don't know, he's my next best guess.
This is it.
Near the boiler room door, I discovered a thin piece of metal. At first glance, it didn't look important, but if you were to fold it in half, theoretically, it would look like a hairpin.
Ah, she used the classic maneuver. Picking a lock with a
Are you
hairpin.
still saying it's Diana?
It can be done. It just takes a bit of practice.
Diana probably had this hairpin inside her makeup bag.
Okay, that's
So, she used it to fiddle with the lock
it's not
until
Diana,
it eventually
then
came undone.
Jet, but it looks like she's
Which,
still going after
judging
Diana.
by the timing of her
some reason.
footsteps, happened late into the blackout.
Messing with a lock in pitch blackness. Whew. Now that would be impossible for me.
Right. Even if Diana did access light, like through the Tozu trinket, undoing the lock would still be difficult. Way too difficult of a situation to deliberately put herself in.
In which case, that can only mean one thing.
I got it.
Someone else must have locked the door.
What?
If we go over our current train of thought, the doorknob was rearranged so you could only lock it from the outside. It doesn't make sense for Diana to rearrange the lock, enter the room, and deliberately trap herself inside, which means someone else must have locked the door. I know this doesn't necessarily clear Diana of suspicion, but it's strange enough to warrant further investigation.
I'd rather resolve this thread before we move on to voting.
Agreed. We could easily miss something important if we turn our noses away.
So, why did this mystery person close the door in the first place?
What if they saw the scuffle between Wolfie and Diana and closed the door to protect themselves?
Instead of seeking help? Or trying to stop the scuffle?
You say that like closing the door isn't exactly
No,
what
I
you
was
would
actually
do.
just gonna say that.
What kind of asshole do you take me for?
Any chance they locked it to prevent Diana from escaping?
And somehow unscrewed the doorknob without drawing attention to themselves?
Didn't you hear him? He's talking about the door being locked, not the doorknob being unscrewed.
Unless two entirely different people just so happen to interfere with the boiler room at two entirely separate intervals. The one who locked the door is most likely the one who flipped it, yes?
Yes.
Then you should be wondering the same thing. How did they unscrew the doorknob without catching anyone's attention?
Doesn't sound possible.
Maybe they did it before?
Not in the moment, it isn't. But what if the doorknob had been swapped beforehand? Say this person knew Wolfgang and Diana were coming to the boiler room. They could have swapped the knob in advance, waited for Diana and Wolfgang to enter, and then closed and locked the door.
So the flipping of the doorknob was premeditated?
With what we currently know, I'd wager it's our safest assumption. At least until we hear Diana's side of the story.
Speak your truth, girl. Be so
Diana,
with us.
since you were the last person with Wolfgang, your testimony could be our most valuable piece of evidence yet. You need to tell me what happened. If not for me, or for you, then at the very least, do it for Wolfgang's sake.
I'm sorry. I'm really
Aww.
I wanted to help. I wanted to make everything okay. But all I could do was be useless. All I could do was watch him die.
Wait, this is so sad.
It's all my fault. All my fault. For doing the wrong thing.
So is this a confession, or...
No!
Huh?
I didn't kill Wolfgang. And I don't know who did, but I still failed him as a friend. I failed him then. And I failed him here. But if I told the truth, things would be worse than they already are. But now that I've said nothing...
I'm sorry for
It's okay,
you,
sweetheart.
Diana. I feel
Come
bad
on
for you.
now, take deep breaths.
Yeah, we'll believe you no matter
Kinda
what you
no.
say.
If that's the case, then I'm suspecting Jet. My god, he's got like a Slytherin, like, looking uniform, I just realized. Are we gonna listen to Diana? Intermission?
Has all this murder hubbub left your head in a tizzy? Perhaps you need a short break. Something to lighten the mood and let you collect yourself. Something like a nice cup of tea. Welcome, one and all, to the first episode of Tozu's Tea Time. If you haven't already, please sit back and relax. Here, we do not use our brains, but deal only in gossip. Now, a question from me to you. What are sheep good at, if anything? Most humans and some sheep tend to respond with a resounding absolutely nothing. Sheep cannot create art or invent medicine. For goodness sake, they can't even perform music. Their limited speech and quadrupedal locomotion prevents them from reaching the heights of humans.
I'm sorry,
They're
Cozy,
practically
what are
glued to
goats
the
good
lower
for
echelons
anyway?
of the food chain. No matter how hard sheep may try, they will never be anything more than their number tags. I can't say I like that answer. Too pessimistic for me. Plus, what of the sheep who still try?
They help us fall
The
asleep at
sheep
night,
who
you know?
realize their fate but continue to challenge it all the same. That they can be so determined to prove their worth when humans have all but deemed them microwavable meals. Isn't that something admirable? What a shame our sheep had to be so misguided. It seems that's about all the time we have. Thank you again for attending Tozu's Tea Time. No need for extravagant farewells. I've an inkling you'll be back for tea sooner than you can say Jack Robinson. Who's Jack Robinson? I have no idea. Ta-ta!
Diana, now's your chance to defend yourself. Tell me what happened.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
I was supposed to
Why I
talk a
went
bit,
there?
talking to her. Let's see.
It was... 'cause of a note.
A
So
note?
wait, so they both got notes.
2 days ago.
Huh.
Someone slid one into my room. I never got to see who. I just heard a knock. And when I walked over, there was a note under my door.
I don't remember any of this.
Sorry. It was midday-ish, and you weren't there at the time. And I didn't show you the note later because, well, I'll just read you what it said.
Diana, as you are aware, it is our obligation to speak with those whose blackmail we have obtained. After receiving your blackmail and reading the information disclosed in it, I believe a meeting between the two of us is warranted. In 2 days' time, please come to the underground boiler room at 8:45 a.m. Make sure to arrive promptly and close the door behind you. To avoid discourse, do not show anyone this letter. Do not approach me about it either, even in private. There's always the chance someone can hear. Girl, how did you believe that?
Wolfie wrote this?
Wolfgang had Diana's blackmail? But didn't he have Jean's?
Hold on a sec. If you take a closer look, the handwriting on that note... Doesn't it resemble the handwriting on Wolfgang's note?
You're
we have everyone's
actually
signatures.
right.
Let me just...
Even
look
though
at them.
Wolfgang's note has been water damaged, the words I can make out were in the same messy scroll as Diana's here.
Then someone else was posing as Wolfgang?
The killer, most likely. They must have thought his word was the only one Diana would follow.
Guess it worked, huh?
I didn't want to show this note earlier. Because I was scared of how people would try to twist it. Like saying I faked the note, or that I decided to kill because of it. I thought it would be better to just stay quiet. I know you guys think I'm stupid for agreeing to meet in a place like the boiler room. And I am. I am stupid. I just didn't want to disappoint Wolfgang, in case he really did write the note, which was why I left my room around 8:40 a.m. and went downstairs.
Did you catch any strange movement down there?
No, it was just me. I did find the boiler room door hanging open a little bit, but I didn't think much of it. I just went inside and closed the door behind me, since that's what the note asked me to do.
What did you see inside the boiler room?
The boiler room was really dark, so the first thing I noticed was actually the security camera light. My eyes had to take a few seconds to adjust to everything else. But after that, I finally saw him. Wolfgang was lying in the water, making these weird noises. It didn't seem like he'd even notice me entering the room. Not until... Wolfgang? Hearing his name seemed to snap him out of his trance, because he slowly rose to his feet. Wolfgang, are you okay?
I don't think he's okay.
It's you.
Huh?
I can't believe it. I really am finally meeting you.
What do you mean?
Is he tripping? Oh.
Please, forgive me.
Please forgive me for what I've become.
And the voice acting is hard
Wolfgang?
here.
Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you. I will always be a failure.
It's okay, Wolfgang. Look! There's stairs over here. Come over here and we can get out. I have no idea if he didn't hear me, or if he was just ignoring me. But, okay. I'll get closer to you then. I went over to the ledge of the platform, the part where the fence had a gap. Just take my hand, okay? And I'll pull you out. He slowly stumbled over, and he held my hand. I didn't really think I could pull him out. I just wanted to be there for him. It was the best I could do, because I didn't want to enter the water. Staying on the platform felt so much safer. And I really, really hate that it did. It's okay, Wolfgang. We'll get through this together, all right? I was looking at him when I said that. I was looking right at him. But somehow...
Oh, God. He looks awful.
Somehow I didn't think to react.
Is he gonna stab her? Oh my God. Morphe, what happened
And he
to you?
reached inside his blazer.
He looks kind of hot here, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Bring her back. Bring her back!
I tried to leave the room, but the door was locked. I didn't know what to do. I started looking around for things to defend myself with. And that's when I saw the gun.
The taser gun? Did you use it?
I took the taser, and I aimed it at Wolfgang, and I couldn't do it.
Oh.
I couldn't shoot him. I just backed away from him. I couldn't understand anything. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being attacked? Why can't I do anything to...
Oh, he is tweaking it. Fuck out.
I'm not like you. I'll never be like you. I won't give up until the world knows. I won't give up until everyone knows me as...
Is he like an imposter? Oh. Was he an imposter?
All of a sudden,
impersonating
everything turned white. Everything in front of me. Except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black. And then, so did everything else. Even though I didn't see Wolfgang fall over, I heard it. His body cracking against the pavement, and his knife falling into the water. I waited for the gasp of pain, for him to groan or mumble or say something. But there was nothing. There was just me and the silence. That's how it happened.
What the... What the fuck?!
Me too, Kai.
That man attacked you?
Oh my goodness, Diana, I'm at a loss for words.
This is getting too much for me, bros. I think I'm gonna faint.
Holy shit. So Diana really did watch Wolfgang die.
Why was he so violent towards her? It's like he became an entirely different person.
The word you're looking for is crazy.
Despite how hard I tried, and how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you. Why would Wolfgang say those words in that particular moment?
How'd you manage to escape the boiler room after all that?
By picking the door's lock.
For reals?
Establish this
I
casting.
wasn't even thinking. I just started feeling my way back to the door in the dark. And then, well, my supply bag. I remembered the spare hairpins I always kept inside. So I felt around the bag and dug one out. To be honest, I have no idea how I managed to unlock the door. The whole thing was repeated trial and error. Just minutes of me telling myself that somehow this next attempt will finally work.
Whoa! Actually unlocking the doors. That's like hitting a bullseye blindfolded.
Now we know why it took so long for her to escape.
I realized why it happened. Getting trapped inside, I mean. The door's lock was on the outside. So, someone must have set the lock before I came downstairs. So that when I closed the door, I'd be trapped.
The lock is normally on the inside too. The killer purposely flipped it, then left the door open so you would be the one to close it. As for why the killer locked the door to begin with.
It was to frame Diana,
it
right?
really could be anyone, except for
Right.
Diana.
The killer made Diana trap herself inside the boiler room, so they could kill Wolfgang in front of her, and force her to remain by his body.
That's
If
so
that
messed
worked,
up.
Diana would only be able to escape if someone from outside entered the boiler room. By which point, that someone would be stumbling across what looks like a cut-and-dry murder case.
If the tournament folk found Diana, they would have been playing right into the killer's hands.
Speaking of which... Diana, I'm curious to know. Did you unlock the door before or after the tournament attendees arrived downstairs?
It sort of happened at the same time. Like, when I opened the door, there were already people walking down the stairs. Obviously, I couldn't stay inside the boiler room. If anyone saw me close to Wolfgang's body, it would look really bad. The hallway was a bit easier to make out in the dark. So I walked over to a wall bordering one of the storage closets and hid behind it. And stayed as quiet as possible. I was still bleeding a little from Wolfgang's cut, though. And some of that blood ended up dripping onto the floor around me.
Hence the blood on the
I love
underground
this, like,
floor.
watercolor art
It's all
style.
coming together.
It's really pretty.
This was shortly before us tournament goers split up. And you made a run for it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Down the hallway, up the stairs, and then as quietly as possible into my room. Since everything was still really dark, I had to patch myself using the Tozu Trinket's projection as my light. I realize this is a lot, And I know it's hard to believe without proof. So, if you guys could just give me a second. I cleared up the blood pretty fast. Luckily for me, the cut wasn't that deep. There's still a chance it may leave a scar, though.
Holy crap! That's awful!
It's okay. I'll cover it back up again.
No, you don't have to.
Why did Wolfgang attack you for no reason?
Did the killer,
I wouldn't say it was
like,
for
drug
no
him or
reason.
something?
You're being kind of insensitive, man.
God, you have been so insensitive
Huh?
this entire trial.
I didn't mean it like that. What I'm trying to say is, Wolfgang's actions may look random from an outsider's perspective, but from his perspective, well, judging by his behavior, it seems like he saw something which shook him to his core.
Like, there was something in the room that Diana didn't see?
That's impossible! It was only me and Wolfgang in the boiler room.
I don't believe John meant it in a literal sense.
Wolfgang literally saw something?
He thought he saw something, is my point.
You mean he had been hallucinating?
What did Wolfgang hallucinate for him to turn out the way Diana described?
You'd be surprised by the sort of things our minds can invent. I'm lucky to have never experienced anything myself, but I know some who have hallucinated nasty things. Demons and monsters, or the feeling of being tortured. If Wolfgang went through something similar, I can see why he lashed out.
Now what the heck is going on at sea?
Of course, these hallucinations don't just happen out of the blue. More often than not, they're substance-induced.
Substance-induced?
Just say Wolfgang took a hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenics?
One which induced a lot of fatigue, too, judging by the way he lumbered about in Diana's account.
It would explain why Wolfgang mostly stayed in one place.
One place, which happened to be in the water.
Seems very deliberate, aye. I reckon the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious in order to drag him into the water, but knew he would eventually wake up again. So they drugged him with something which would basically make him despondent. As for where the drug came from...
Oh no! Don't tell me the killer robbed...
I knew exploring it was a bad idea.
It? What's this it we're talking about?
The pharmacy, obviously. Why the heck did we think leaving that place open was a good idea? Now someone's stolen an item and drugged Wolfgang. Fuck! I knew our promise was too good to be true! I can't trust any of you guys!
You can trust me.
And don't say Wolfgang drugged himself! Who wants to be tortured by demons?
Well,
Buddies,
stranger
Kai.
people
You
do
can trust
exist.
me.
That's rich coming from you!
It's just as I predicted. Exploring the pharmacy ended up paving the way for a murder. Should I have made more of an attempt to stop people from exploring? All I did was... With cautious yet determined expressions, the students entered the newly opened pharmacy. Giving everyone unrestricted access to medication sounded like a disaster in the making. But having already evoked the group's ire after speaking my mind before, I wasn't about to make quiet. Let them do their thing. And again, nobody would have listened to me. Especially not with Wolfgang in control.
If we know where the perpetrator got their chemicals, I guess our next step is figuring out how they did the drugging.
Agreed. It would help us better understand the timeline of events, and potentially even validate Diana's testimony.
Sounds like you guys can leave this one to me. I'm the kind of person who knows someone back to front the moment I meet them. If you haven't already realized, I've gone and read this killer like an open book.
You're the last person I trust to reach a correct conclusion.
Just you wait! The second you hear what I gotta say, you'll be eating those words!
Pinning down how Wolfgang was drugged may validate Diana's testimony. The question is, how did the killer drug him? The odd smell. I thought it might be from, like, some sort of dragon.
Just jab him at that point.
Oh! How would the killer make him swallow a pill? There was no proof they restrained him.
Didn't the killer knock Wolfie out? Maybe that was their way of restraining him.
You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill.
Unconscious people
What if it
don't
was a
want
drug?
tea.
You don't need to eat.
Like an inhalable substance?
Oh yeah, like a powder or something.
The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
How did the killer drug Wolfgang? Out of all the ideas being thrown... Slow down! Out of all the ideas being thrown around, only one has any real merit.
I bet the killer Wolfgang to swallow it!
Just jab. I got it.
When Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck. During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple, but knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out. If Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m., and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m., then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes. Any normal pill would have taken, probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
That's probably another reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around. Only when they had him right where they wanted, dazed and unable to fight back, did they plunge the syringe into his neck.
With said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic.
But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
What? Why is it impossible?
Because everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damien and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Sean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
You mean Eloise and I?
So Hugo was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted for, we really can't send a suspect.
So, we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
And doesn't plan to stop.
What's screwing us over here? Is there part of the mystery we're getting wrong? Or could it be we're overlooking something? It was ruled out as having no relation to the murder because the wires didn't touch the water. But the position of it, the fact it's destroyed, the timing of the blackout. one coincidence is easy to wave off, but when it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, there's something more going on. There's something more to the generator. I thought we already established.
If everyone has an alibi for 8:15 a.m.,
Didn't Diana say
is
that?
it possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that time? But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
To be honest, I'm drawing blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead, which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic.
Thanks for that, Ingrid.
Right now,
Really
we're at a
solid
dead
there.
end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me.
I won't give up. Until everyone knows me as... Yeah, keep going. All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me, except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black. And then, so did everything else.
The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead. Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Oi, didn't we go over this already?
We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires
Yes, it
weren't
was.
touching the water.
Indeed.
No, that's
Which is why
wrong.
the murder weapon is the taser gun.
Diana said she never used the taser, though.
She's lying!
What?
Pushka, sweetie. Just leave the door up to talk.
That's not true! I never fired the gun!
It's all good. I believe you.
Desmond is so chill guy.
Sure,
Energy.
nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired. I wouldn't be surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
If Wolfgang wasn't killed with the taser gun or the generator,
He was killed with the generator.
what other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the
Guys,
only option which makes
can you
sense.
please
The
just
murder
bring up
weapon
the
can't
water?
be anything else.
True murder weapon. Damn it! Is it possible there's a source of electricity we haven't considered yet? Am I grasping at straws by thinking something like that? Dude,
And
it's
anyway,
right
the only
there.
proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word.
Huh?
Ava! What do you mean?
Damn, she is going
All
after
the
her.
evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial.
Guys,
The
Damon,
note you showed us?
just
That
bring
could
up
be a
the
big
wire.
alibi you made for yourself. The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Oh my
Does that
god.
just mean the same person tricked them?
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial.
None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that influence.
Okay, but who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
Most covert place? The words do make sense. After all, I chose to meet Tozer in the boiler room for that very reason.
Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer lies in what destroyed the generator.
What?
Oh.
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories, never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case, we can't rule out the generators.
Oh my god, the wire. Just mention the wire, please, Damon. You're killing me.
So, we have to figure out what destroyed the generator?
The wire.
What should we do? Just throw out ideas?
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley.
I love you, Cassidy.
Alright, everyone. Let's put our thinking hats on. If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure. Ready? On your marks, get set, go!
Okay, I guess it's the
Why
shrapnel
did the
probably,
generator blow up?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
Why are we not talking about the wire?
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Did the killer throw something at the generator that made it explode?
Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser was involved.
Yes, there is the wire, but we're not talking about that, I guess.
After Wolfie got shot with the taser.
Such a dastardly taser, leaving so many victims in its wake.
No, I'm long past the point of falling for the surface level diversion. Yeah. Slow down, Damon! In reality, the truth is floating just within reach.
Why did the generator...
Which caused everything in
There's no besides the taser was...
No, that's wrong!
Sounds like a sort of passion. Walking.
Unfortunately, Ava, I have to disagree. You say nothing but the taser could have been involved in the murder. But there's one possibility you didn't consider. The shrapnel in the water.
You mean those bits of red metal which were floating around?
Right. The ones that look like the aftermath of an explosion. Due to their proximity to the generator, it's safe to assume the two are connected.
Can't that just be debris left by the generator?
Except this debris is a completely different color. It lacks the rust the generator has accumulated. We're obviously looking at the remnants of something else, which means an object we haven't yet identified was caught in the explosion.
The building near it is another out-of-place item. Are we finally talking about the wire? Please. Yes, right there. No, no, go back up. Please, back up. Yes, finally! God damn!
Water was also an extension cord, half of which had been burnt away.
Huh? Did the cord get caught in the explosion?
Seems that cord has the misfortune of floating around the wrong place at the wrong time.
From what I saw in my investigation, the building's extension cord supply seems to be kept inside Storage Closet D. So in a way, yeah, it was definitely in the wrong place.
Storage Closet D, huh? It was hard to make out much of it in the dark. And after the power came on, Kai came screaming for us to leave our closets. But I do recall seeing some extension cords peeking out from behind a shelf.
Since we already know the killer raided one storage closet, anyone else willing to bet they raided this one too?
The hell did they need an extension cord for?
Probably something involving the generator. Given its proximity to the cord.
To charge their phone.
Same thing with the red bits. Even though we don't know what they are.
Right. The red shrapnel. It definitely isn't debris left by the generator, so what exactly is it? So far, nothing in the boiler room can be directly tied to the shrapnel. At least, not any of the clues that have already been discussed in this trial. If I were to flip my thinking and consider the clues we haven't discussed yet, there's no proof what I have in mind is related to the shrapnel, but when all other options are ruled out, I can only charge towards the one that hasn't. The one thing that the mysterious shrapnel might be related to. The smell? Or the DJ? The smell is the only thing I can think of. Because we haven't talked about that yet. I knew it. I am so smart.
Hold that thought. We may be able to identify the shrapnel using context clues. During the investigation, there was a strange smell permeating the boiler room. It took me a moment to notice, but when I did, well, the best way to describe the scent would be if you mix cereal and alcohol together.
Cereal and alcohol?
Yum.
'Tis a sign a chemical reaction is at play.
Wait, you recognize the smell?
Chemical reactions can produce some pretty pungent odors. Usually something to the tune of alcohol mixed with cereal, or fruits, or eggs. I noticed the smell going into the investigation, but it had completely slipped my mind until now.
Could it be a chemical reaction was caused by the taser?
The gun never touched the water. There's no reason for it to be the source of the smell.
What about the generator?
Considering the state of it, that generator would smell more burnt than anything else.
If the chemical reaction can't be explained by what we already know, like the generator or the taser gun, we need to consider the possibility that the explanation is the one piece of evidence still evading us, the shrapnel.
Can someone translate this into less complicated talk?
I feel you, guys.
It was just a long-winded way of saying he's using process of elimination.
I know it sounds like a stretch, but if you follow this line of reasoning, a lot more questions start getting answered. Think about it. If the smell and shrapnel are linked, then whatever object the shrapnel belongs to must contain chemicals.
So we're looking for a metal object, which is also packed with chemicals?
Definitely every object.
Surely something like that would be kept inside the pharmacy.
Looking at my notes... When we originally visited the pharmacy, I recorded everything I saw. A bright red metal object would have definitely caught my eye, but I don't see one written here.
I got lots of metallic objects in the dorm room, but nothing chemical. Just big old slabs of metal.
Big old slabs of metal. Why does that sound so familiar? Hold on. That's right. What Ingrid said just now is similar to what she said the night everyone began bunking together. I guess this would explain my room too. It's loaded with all sorts of fancy tools and metals. At the time, people were talking about their dorm rooms being themed around their talents. Could it be? Could the shrapnel actually be the remnants of the unique device that guy boasted about having in his room? The only way to know for sure is to put you on the spot. Jet? Is that right? I knew it.
To be you!
I am so smart.
Jet, I need to ask you something.
What's up?
Can you tell me what's inside your dorm room?
Like, a full-on list?
Whatever works.
Sure thing. I got a pretty gnarly collection of parts and accessories. Blind spot mirrors, lithium batteries, wheels, spare brakes, you name it. Oh, I even have the legendary mantle from the 1984's Grand Prix winning speedster.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Cool. So, why'd you want to know? Unless... Wait, I'm not being suspected, am I? No. Don't try to roll me into this, bro. I've got nothing to do with the murder.
I know you don't. You have an alibi. The only reason I ask is because that mysterious red shrapnel may be the remnants of one of your lithium batteries.
What?
I see. A lithium battery might explain the smell in the air.
And lithium? That's an explosive substance.
Like, literally everyone
If it
has
made
an
contact
alibi,
with
so...
water,
It could
you'd
be.
left with a mess and a half.
Wouldn't someone have heard an explosion though?
I did.
Really?
During the tournament, right before we lost power.
Oi, that's right. That was a burn.
Wait! I remember hearing it too!
I initially assumed the generator made the noise somehow. But if Jet's car batteries contain an explosive substance...
Hey, Jet, were your batteries bright red at all?
Maybe?
You don't know for sure?
I never took the batteries out of their packaging. The packaging isn't red, I can tell you that, but the actual batteries? Yeah, I got nothing.
So it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Like, she might have been able to, like, steal it.
Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery?
Come back together.
The reaction time?
When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust? I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case.
A lithium battery would be an almost instantaneous reaction, I'm pretty sure.
Lithium isn't a metal I've worked with, but it got beat into my head never to mix it with substances it doesn't like.
Isn't a metal.
All that electricity, the battery would have let out when it hit the water. It must have went straight into poor Wolfie.
There's warning labels on the battery for a reason.
Okay, if the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded. That's really weird.
Is it?
Or no, it is a metal. What am I saying?
According to Diana's testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun. In which case, who threw the battery into the water?
Huh?
Good point. We can rule out Wolfgang, since the Blackens can only be a student who kills another student.
And Diana.
It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room. So unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder.
I didn't throw the battery. I promise.
Someone might have, like, dropped it. The shrapnel and the generator are too close for comfort. They must be correlated. I'll admit that Diana throwing the battery is a possibility, but that's all it is. A possibility. There may still be another way for the battery to enter the water, and until I ruled that out, I won't settle for the culprit just yet.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere, so it must have been submerged another way. Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Not the hardest shot to me.
Everyone is quick to say that the battery was thrown, but when I consider the boiler room, which objects the killer could have leveraged, what that person considers impossible starts to sound anything but.
If the battery is related to the...
Neo batteries.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen.
No, that's wrong!
No. The battery might actually have fallen from the generator.
What makes you say that?
The shrapnel's position in front of the generator suggests there's a correlation between the two. However, it's unlikely Diana threw the battery at the generator. Not only is the boiler room difficult to see in, the generator is positioned far enough from the concrete platform that Diana, with her wounded arm, would need to stand on the platform's edge to make the shot, which would obviously put her in danger of being attacked by Wolfgang again.
Yeah, Wolfgang was really close. He could reach over to me if he wanted.
If the battery hadn't been thrown, the only other possibility is that it fell down into the water. And considering the layout of the boiler room, what else could the battery fall off of? Except the generator.
Are you saying the battery was sitting on top of the generator?
Not on top, but maybe...
I got it.
The battery may have been suspended over the generator.
Suspended over?
If the battery was suspended by something, then the presence of that item starts to, like, make a lot more sense. It's the wire. It's the extension cord.
This is it.
The killer could have tied the extension cord around the battery and slung the battery over the generator. If the cord and battery were tied together at the time of the generator's explosion, it would explain why half of the cord had been burned away.
The more you explain it, the more unbelievable it sounds.
What if that's the point? Maybe the killer chose a crazy method because no one would believe it.
I don't see how weaving a cord into the mix is any more beneficial than leaving it out. If anything, the cord adds extra weight.
Which would be especially inconvenient for Diana, because her arm is bleeding.
Right. It wouldn't benefit Diana to hold the cord. So, What if she didn't? Something else may have been supporting the cord instead.
Something like...
I got it.
Throughout this trial, we've assumed the killer held the battery in some form or another. If the battery was on its own, the killer tossed it in. If the battery was wrapped with a cord, the killer held the other end of the cord. But in the same way something else can hold the battery, can't something else also hold the cord?
Ugh, my head's starting to spin.
Are you talking about something which could keep the cord in place?
Something to keep the cord in place. If I imagine the cord and the battery it's tied around in front of the generator, in the same spot where the shrapnel surfaced. Oh, the ceiling. Oh, the vent.
This is it.
Or that.
The killer tied the cord to the vent.
What? Vent?
The one above the generator. It connects the boiler room and the dining hall.
There's a vent above the generator?
You should remember sunlight shining into the boiler room. That's where the vent is. The vent itself is set a bit far back into the wall, so you probably assumed the spot was a small window or something.
If the boiler room and the dining hall are separated by one vent, does this make the wallpaper thin, or...?
There's two vents. The boiler room vent and the dining hall vent. Both are connected via a small ventilation shaft. I was able to get a close look at the boiler room vent after Ava and I woke up, which is why I know these details.
How close is close for someone under 6 foot?
Ava helped me reach the vent.
By?
Letting me sit on her shoulders.
Quite the visual.
Anyway, if the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent, and the other end around the battery, they could suspend the battery over the generator.
Something like that would result in an explosion.
What do you mean?
You say the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end to the battery. However, indoor extension cords are much longer than regular cords. They can be upwards of 9 or more meters in length, as opposed to the average cord's 2 meters. 9 meters is significantly longer than the distance between the vent and the boiler room floor. If the killer wanted to tie the battery to the cord's other end, they would be tying it to something which is already submerged in water.
I see. It is an impossible setup.
Not necessarily. The killer can greatly reduce the length of the cord by doing that.
I got it.
The extension cord is pretty thin and flimsy. If the killer wanted the battery to be secure, they need to wrap a lot of cord around it. Probably to the point there wouldn't be much spare cord remaining. Which is a good thing, because this spare cord is what the battery will be suspended by. So long as the spare cord isn't too long, the battery will sit safely above the water.
So much effort.
Agreed. How do you even submerge the battery into the water under those circumstances?
Simple. By adjusting the cord's position. All the killer would need to utilize is a certain aspect of the boiler room.
This is it.
Like I mentioned earlier, I gave the vent a close look after originally waking up in the boiler room. Part of my inspection included opening the vent to get a better look at the other side.
The vent can be opened?
Not all the way, but far enough for the vent to cause a domino effect if then closed. In our case, a domino effect involving the extension cord tied to it. If we assume the vent must be open for the battery to remain a safe distance above the water, we end up with a pulley system to prevent the battery from entering the water. The vent is literally pulling the entire cord backwards. Ergo, it's not just the killer's own measurements keeping the battery in place, but the vent itself. Having opened one of these vents before, I can tell you how tough they are to move.
Wrapping my fingers around the grate directly in front of me, I pulled as hard as I could.
A lightweight battery definitely isn't heavy enough to pull one shut. It takes an actual person to close one. Which is great for the killer, because it means they get to maintain full control over when the battery enters the water. If they close the vent, the cord should slide forward and submerge the battery into the water. When that happens, the boiler room water becomes electrified by the battery's components, which in turn causes electricity to pass directly into the body of Wolfgang, who is standing in the water.
Exactly which vent is the cord being tied to?
The boiler room vent.
And how would they... how would they close
Funny. Earlier, you said there's a small vent shaft connecting the boiler room vent to the dining hall vent. Assuming the killer is operating this trap from outside the boiler room, since we know there were only ever 2 people in that room, how would they even be able to reach the boiler room vent? Like you said, there's a separate vent in front of it.
She has a pulley. I'm assuming the cord is tied to the boiler room vent. But I failed to consider the ventilation shaft. It becomes deliberately harder to reach the boiler room vent if you have to reach down that shaft first. Not just that, I never tested to see if the boiler room vent can open inwards. I only got it to open outwards. By that logic, a vent on the opposite side of the shaft.
This could only mean one thing. The killer never tied the cord to the boiler room vent. They tied the cord to the dining hall vent.
That just creates the same problem as before, but reversed. Instead of the dining hall vent making it hard to close the boiler room vent, it's the boiler room vent making it hard to reach the dining hall vent.
While the vents may seem like an obstruction, especially since they can't be opened all the way, there's a very easy workaround. All the killer needs to do is fit the extension cord between the grates of the boiler room vent.
Oh yeah, the grates. You mentioned something about them earlier. Right. When you described opening the boiler room vent. If you can fit your fingers between the grates, there's no damn way you can't fit a cord.
Exactly. After which, you could
So it
slide
had to
the
be
cord
someone
through
in
the
the dining
ventilation shaft, and out the opposite
That's
end.
probably Casper, since I think she
The
would have had
killer
the
could then
best
go and tie
opportunity
to
to
that.
steal.
Actually...
You did not just say, actually. Actually.
Hello?
Who is it now?
God, what a nerd.
There's something I still don't understand about your theory. It's to do
But
with
yeah,
the
I
logistics
think it's
of the
probably
cord.
Cassidy.
The logistics?
Since she and Mark are the people who would have the best opportunity to steal the battery from Jet. And I don't think we've gotten enough from Mark for it to be him yet.
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
I don't see a problem here, because they could simply slide the cord between the grates.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't. How can the killer fit both those plugs between the gaps in the vent grate? Either the boiler room vent was never involved, or it was open at some point, and someone else closed it. That is my issue.
His argument might have made sense if it weren't for one fatal flaw.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't.
I'll cut through those words!
If you insert the cord through the boiler room vent first, it's possible to fit the cord through. You just need to start with the internal plug. The cords in Storage Closet D have a slim internal end. This can easily be slid through the gaps in the vent. Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent, presumably with a knot, the cord won't be at risk of sliding back out either.
I see. When put like that, whether or not the boiler room vent was closed isn't really relevant.
How'd you figure all this out from some shrapnel and an extension cord? This is crazy.
At the same time, what he's describing sounds plausible.
Since the battery was suspended over the generator, it's no surprise the machine ended up the way it did. Fortunately for Diana, she was safe by virtue of remaining on the platform. I imagine that was also the killer's intention.
The killer kept her on the platform?
They must have known they were injecting Wolfgang with a hallucinogenic. So, it's possible they hoped his behavior would scare Diana off from entering the water. Although, even if Diana did die, the moment people realized only she and Wolfgang entered the boiler room, they'd probably call the whole thing a murder gone wrong.
Well, all of this certainly changes things.
Huh?
If the killer is someone who needed access to the vent and needed to be operating from the dining hall, then everyone who attended the tournament is a suspect.
What?
No way!
One of the tournament attendees is the killer? Damn it! How did I not realize sooner? The fact that the killer could even access the vent means they must have been in the dining hall at the time of Wolfgang's murder.
So we can reduce it down to 8 people. Damon, Kai, Grace, Eva, Cassidy, Jet, Mark, and John.
It was probably Cassidy. She set the whole thing up.
Hey, I was only trying to improve the mood.
It wasn't me. I was playing a game with Damon when the lights went out.
I had to play music.
Me too.
You never touched my equipment.
I meant I was watching Kai and Damon play.
I was spectating as well.
Me too.
Well, one of you is clearly
And
lying.
Cass too, I think? I was too focused on the game to remember who was or wasn't there.
If everyone's telling the truth, then
CG,
all
Cassidy was like
8 of y'all were
leaning over.
crowded round the same spot?
Near the right wall where the TV was set up. It's also the furthest wall from the vent.
Seems like someone is lying again.
A tournament participant who flipped the vent. I can deduce who that person is, by determining everyone's positions directly before the blackout. The problem is, I myself had been totally preoccupied with the game. Never got a good look at the actual people around me. Never got a good look. Wait, is that it? Well, I never got a good look at the others. Still deduced their general positions, and if they were near me, from whether or not I heard them. Think, David, think. Who and what did I hear back then? It was you. Care to share with the class? The only person I ever heard was you. I remember hearing from everyone. Oh god, I was scared. Eva? What?
It has to be you!
No! No,
The killer is Ava.
No!
Ava's the only one whose position I can't account for. Mark was mixing a track at the time Kai and I were playing the game, so I know he must have been stationed at his pad.
She was the one person I was certain would be the killer.
Their voices over the sound of the game. Every fact. The last I saw her, she was standing in the corner of the room with the vent.
So Ava flipped the vent?
What the hell?
Oh man! And the reason no one heard it is because the music was too loud!
Don't blame me. I was just doing what I was told.
No one's blaming you. We're all in on Eva.
No.
Care to contribute anything, Eva?
Not my loser girl failure of athlete.
I didn't flip the vent.
Well, Damon says you did.
Damon says a lot of things.
Yeah, and I'm usually right.
While you aren't technically wrong, I don't think that counts as an argument.
His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out.
What plot holes?
The cord.
What?
In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it?
Trick question. You left the cord tied to the vent.
What then? It unraveled by itself and fell into the water?
Yeah, you got me there.
How did Ava get rid of the cord? I'm sure it's possible, if she knew to untie it at the right time.
I got it.
This is crazy.
To dispose of the cord, he just untied it during the blackout.
She untied the knot during a blackout?
Being the one who set up the trap, Ava could have easily practiced untying the knot in advance, or she just made it a really simple knot. Either way, it wouldn't be any more difficult than untying your shoelaces with your eyes closed.
If Ava untied the cord, did it also fall into the water?
Diana's testimony says as much.
It does?
During your confrontation with Wolfgang, you recounted hearing certain sounds.
Not like you. Never. I'm not gonna insult me again. He looks so fucked up.
The first sound was obviously the battery exploding. And the second, when you first recounted the story, you said it was a sound. Why would a thin knife make such a big splash?
Then, do you think...
What really caused that sound was probably the extension cord falling into the water.
When you say it that way, it does seem likelier.
I should have known. The kid who lied about her talents and tried to lie about the Tozy trinkets. I should have known. I should have known only Eva fucking Sadaka would tell Wolfgang!
You're right that Eva's life was several
off so
times
hard.
But she's just a mathlete. How did someone like her come up with something this complicated?
They're telling me Mark give her the upper hand in all that measurement nonsense.
Even so, the sheer volume of items Eva had to steal. She's been under heavy suspicion these past few days, rooms without being noticed.
It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes. I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery.
Right on! No one steals from me!
They already did.
And anyway, how could I enter the cord through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students.
I understand why people are doubtful, but I can't let the conversation continue like this. All she had to use to climb on the boxes or the banister.
This is it. Ava, to reach the top of the generator, you simply stood on one of the boxes in the boiler room. There's already a huge pile of them here that could easily push one up against the machine.
She would have known about those boxes in advance, too, since she explored the boiler room with you ahead of time.
Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator, and I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent. The dining hall one. Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, and opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up.
Oh yeah, you're right. If there was an open vent with a cord tied to it, I would have noticed for sure.
Now that Eva mentions it, I'm pretty sure the vent was closed during setup.
The vent was closed?
See, there's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
What the? That's bullshit.
Damn it, you four-eyed troll! You can't talk your way out of this one!
Shit.
The only person who would be sick-minded enough to kill Wolfgang is you, and only you! Don't you fucking try and tell me otherwise!
You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent.
It seems to be pretty good evidence to me.
Wolfgang exposed you for the snake you are, and you despised him because of it. You have a motive!
Perhaps our understanding of the mechanism is wrong? Maybe it wasn't closing the vent that triggered it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence to prove that?
Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord with a special knot which can untie by itself after a bit of time passes.
There's even less evidence for that!
Evidence? No one here cares about evidence. I just happened to be at the game tournament, and now you're saying I'm a killer.
I think we refute that last statement. Never mind. receptive for. Focus on the facts. Focus.
I just happened.
No, that's wrong!
No. It's no coincidence you were at the game tournament. In fact, it's not even a coincidence the tournament took place during the murder.
What do you mean?
It was impossible for me to notice this earlier, but the killer timed the tournament so it would grant them an alibi for the murder.
Whoa! Are you accusing me of murder again? I thought you said Ava was the culprit.
The detective isn't supposed to switch suspects in the last stretch like this. You're totally throwing the audience for a loop, and not in a good way.
Except neither of you played a role in determining what time the tournament would be held. The only person to determine that was Ava.
When I was training my talent, I did most of my studying at 9 a.m. The brain is most active and ready to absorb information around that time. I think this effect could help our video game skills. That's right, I didn't even think about that. A 9 a.m. journey, huh? Wouldn't be the first time. Screw it, let's do it 9 a.m. 1 hour after the morning announcement.
Ava knew she would be in the dining hall tomorrow, so when Cassidy announced the tournament, she realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create an alibi for herself.
That's insane. How could she have come up with something like that on the spot?
It wasn't just for an alibi either. Since Ava knew about the tournament, she could time the setup of her trap accordingly.
So to answer her question why neither Cassidy, Jet, nor Mark noticed the open vent. When I first think back on what Cassidy told me earlier today, before the tournament began, I can discern exactly when Eva opened the vent.
I got it.
Cassidy, you told me Ava approached you yesterday and asked to help set up the tournament. What exactly did she say?
When did I tell you this again?
Before the tournament?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, Eva wanted to see what sort of equipment the tournament needed. After I showed her Mark's stuff and told her we were redecorating the dining hall, she offered to help.
Back when this conversation happened, you still hadn't decided what time you were going to start redecorating, right?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Eva really helped me out, though. She said she would stack the dining hall furniture we weren't going to use later that night. Afterwards, we could focus purely on arranging the technical stuff in the morning.
All right. Then tell me what happened last night.
Jet, Mark, Eva, and I came to the dining hall at... We stacked the table and the dining chairs against the left wall, and the sofas we moved to the middle of the room, maybe a little more to the right. Then we all went back to our dorms. Well, I was kind of hungry, so I stayed back a few minutes before leaving.
Hold the phone! If those sofa chairs were moved to the middle of the room, why...
Because Eva pushed it there.
Eva what?
She didn't want to take part in the tournament. Just watch it from the side. That's what she told me. I never thought it was weird or anything. Some people just like sticking to the walls of rooms, you know?
We're talking about the sofa in the upper left corner, aye? The one next to the coffee table.
Yes, sirree, Bob.
Yo, when the power went out, I'm pretty sure Damon ran over to that corner to look through... Yeah, a vent!
Did she move the chair there so it would be easier to reach the vent later?
Why would I when Cassidy just said the vent was closed during setup?
Because you were covering for yourself in advance.
Huh?
The vent may not have been open at the time, but I'm willing to bet that's because you were still creating your trap.
In what way?
Let's say Ava took a detour for the boiler room first, and slid the internal plug through both vents. After going upstairs and helping rearrange the dining hall furniture, during which she moves a sofa chair so it obscures the vent, she heads outside and hides until everyone else goes to bed. Then, she walks back in and opens the vent.
So Eva took complete advantage of them?
Not my fault those two are so trusting.
You think a big guy like me was gonna be afraid of some mathlete? No way!
I mean, she did lie about a lot of important things. Her talent being one of them.
She also cried and fled the scene after we found out, no?
I just thought it was cool. She wanted to help me out.
Hey, can we backtrack a little? Like, to before all this Ava talk?
Why? What happened?
It's to do with the chair's position.
Chair?
You guys keep saying it was in front of the vent, but Damon stood in front of the vent during the blackout. If the chair was in the position you all say it was, it should have blocked him from crouching in front of the vent.
Ava probably just moved it during the blackout.
Eh?
Before the blackout, it was positioned with its back to the left wall. However, when I ran over to the vent, the chair was suddenly pushed up against the northern wall, out of the vent's range. Ava must have shifted the chair while everyone was initially panicking from the blackout. I'm guessing she hoped people would misremember its position and think it was always along the northern wall.
Oh, man! So I totally fell for it?
I also remember seeing a speaker in that corner.
Yeah, about that. This morning, Jet, Mark, and I arrived at the dining hall a little after 8 a.m., then Eva came a few minutes later. She helped us put together Mark's equipment, which was stationed in the lower right corner of the room. And then she volunteered to place speakers around the room while Jet and I set up the TV next to the fireplace.
Moving a speaker near the vent. Did Eva do that to drown out Diana and Wolfgang's scuffle?
Yeah, and in turn exacerbate the effects of the other speakers. There were almost a dozen spread throughout the dining hall, some even sandwiched into corners they didn't need to be. Eva probably placed them that way to cover as much ground as possible.
Still. Eva entered the dining hall at 8:10 a.m., right? So, wouldn't it be impossible for her to knock out Lawyer Man at 8:15?
Lawyer Man?
According to Ava, she arrived around 8:10 a.m., but it's possible she actually arrived much later. Since there's no clock in the dining hall, they just couldn't have known. In fact, that might be why Ava seemed so eager to arrange Mark's equipment in the morning. Upon realizing it had a clock, she wanted to ensure it would only be powered on after she arrived.
It seems the setup of this trap occurred across 3 phases. Phase 1 took place in the boiler room and involved tying a lithium battery to an extension cord. The cord was then slid through the grates of the closed boiler room vent, presumably until it almost poked out the other end of the ventilation shaft. Phase 2, by contrast, was carried out in the dining hall. The aforementioned cord was tied around the dining hall vent, which was then left open. This must have happened after Cassidy, Mark, and Jet were already done redecorating. For the third and final phase, the battery was carefully suspended over the generator. All these steps combined created a pulley system, which could only be triggered by closing the dining hall vent. Is there anything I'm missing?
How I closed the vent.
Huh?
No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent. Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement. It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice.
How did we overlook such an obvious discrepancy?
Ava's right. Standing up would look really suspicious. Which is exactly why she used that to circumvent the problem.
This is it. The location of your chair bypasses this problem entirely. Here to recline and reach behind you.
Sit the chair to recline?
All the dining hall chairs have the ability to recline. Some were already set to that position at the start of the tournament, including Ava's. With her chair reclined, Ava can easily reach down and close the vent without shifting from her position. It's not perfectly inconspicuous, but it's subtle enough to not catch most people's attention, especially those focused on watching a video game competition. Well, am I wrong?
This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism.
No one can sneak up behind you without drawing attention, especially when all the lights were still on.
That's just dumb! Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer.
Even so, with everything we've spoken about...
Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier?
Right.
Just
Good
look
about
at all the
neurology.
items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff?
That's true. We still haven't explained how she robbed two people's rooms without being caught.
Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer.
Fine.
I got it.
Ava, you were well aware of the existence of those items.
Cause she
For
got
starters,
the thingy.
everyone heard about Jet's battery. It was common knowledge due to his boasting.
Wait, so it's all my fault? Ouch.
Since the dorms aren't locked, you could have easily snuck in and grabbed the battery while no one was inside. The battery is lightweight too, so you wouldn't have trouble carrying it. For the rest of your plan, the syringe and drugs are both readily available in the pharmacy. And as for the taser, you may not have known about its existence right away, but you still had every incentive to search Desmond's room. Because you received his blackmail.
Eva? You knew my blackmail this whole time and never said anything?
Then why did she tell us that she
So
has
what?
blackmail if it was part of her plan?
Huh?
So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well.
Or was
Oh,
it so
yeah.
that she could say
He read it out loud
yes?
to everyone earlier, didn't he?
Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets.
Yeah, but I was
He
playing
knew all
video
sorts of
games.
things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence.
The hell are you talking about?
See? You still don't know. You still don't know...
Huh?
Eye to eye... On the not killing each other stuff?
On Wolfgang. Eh? Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy, and he thought I hated him the
No,
same
Eva,
way
I did
he
not do this for
But
you.
unlike Damon, I never wanted
yourself.
Wolfgang to die.
What the?
Whoa! That's a loaded accusation.
Not a first for this trial.
If you thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial, you underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally. But in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail.
I told you it'd come back to bite you. Damon, I told you. Eva, you...
Any reason you didn't tell us this earlier?
Oh my god, if you just
I
bit
didn't
the
think it was
bullet.
incriminating at first.
Blackmail.
Not even when he refused to come forward about it?
That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands.
Damon, do you have your blackmail on you? Don't worry about reading it out loud or anything. Just show the image. That's all you gotta do.
Damon, you dumb idiot. Did Eva really never trust me? Why then did she disclose so much to me? Why did she tell me? It's because I trust you. No, this can't be at the forefront of my mind right now. I'm on the cusp of bringing this case to a close. What Eva thinks about me shouldn't matter. What she thinks about me. You took my side way back at the beginning, remember? We were the only people who refused to listen to that lawyer, and you helped me solve the mystery behind that new case. No one thanked you then. I'm really sorry about how things turned out. The other students wouldn't have treated you unfairly if it wasn't for me. Everything I've done for you. Oh, damn it. Damn it! This entire time I've been judging the others for how trusting they are, not even realizing I was blindly following the words of a stranger. And now, everyone here, they're gonna hold this blackmail crap against me. Even more than if I'd just come forward earlier. I told you! Even so, what choice do I have? No one will let the discussion continue, unless I tell the truth.
Fine. I'll show it. But only the picture, as requested.
With those words, I retrieved the envelope from my pocket and pulled out the photo.
He's married?
Ingrid, Wolfgang doesn't have blue eyes.
So, who is this then? His parents?
I mean, why else would the guy look like him?
Given the year this photo was taken, these two people must be his parents. Look at what's printed at the bottom. April 17th, 2001. We know how old Wolfgang is because of the student reports. In 2001, he wasn't even born yet. For the record, I know what Wolfgang's blackmail says, but it didn't change my outlook on him. I don't think it's possible for anyone to hate someone like Wolfgang. He was always brave in the face of sheer adversity, and encouraged everyone else to act likewise. Wolfgang challenged me to be a better person.
Oh, this is actually
Wolfgang
sad.
challenged all of us to be better people. And maybe Ava simply couldn't rise to his challenge.
Don't listen to him! He's trying to divert everyone from—
Even though Wolfgang and I didn't always see eye to eye, my respect for him and his talent never wavered. Why would someone like me harm him? Me, who's been leading this trial much the same way he led the one before. I may have questioned the idea no one here would kill, but that doesn't make me someone who wants to see bloodshed.
He does! He does want bloodshed! We have all the proof he's a cold-blooded killer! Wolfgang's blackmail, which he lied about having!
But wasn't Damon playing...
anything else?
It is odd that we place faith in a man who does not have faith in us. So much so, these discussions are mostly led by his own conjecture.
Well, he's the
Damon
protagonist,
isn't
and
the
how to
killer,
tell ya.
though. Why would he try to mislead anyone?
Thank you, Kai.
Like, he and I were playing a game when the murder happened, and multiple people can vouch for us.
Not to make sense.
Truth has no personal alliance. That's why.
Even if he wasn't here, we'd arrive at the same conclusion anyway. Depend.
Eva.
Then, you all still...
Someone needs to be voted by the end of this.
Don't just say it like that!
Oh, you Sprite.
How would I know? How would I know when to drop it?
Drop what?
The battery! Damon says the killer dropped the battery when Diana was already in the boiler room. But how would I know when Diana was in the boiler room? It's not as if I could listen out for her. The music speakers are too loud. And the dining hall has no clocks, so it'd be impossible for me to know if it was 8:45 a.m.
Right. Only Mark's DJ pad had a clock.
Maybe Ava asked Mark for the time.
She never spoke to me.
We never spoke! I never even got up from my chair! Besides, how could I be sure Diana arrived on time anyway? If you can't explain how I knew when to drop the battery, then shut up and stop accusing me!
Eva makes a decent point. How did she drop the battery in time? Did she just rely on chance? No, that doesn't seem likely. Her entire plan fails if the timing isn't right. Come on, think. My years of debate have taught me anything. I need to look at this from another angle. I just take it from the top, assuming Eva is the killer. She's right by the vent, so I'll give her after she saw.
The only way the killer would have known when to spring their trap was by seeing Diana enter the room. Any uncertainty would ruin the plan, and the dining hall is too loud to hear anything over.
So where did she watch Diana from? There are only two possible places. The vent? The camera! Oh yeah.
This is it. It's impossible to see anything from the vent, which means the only way anyone could see into the room was by using the school cameras.
Say what?
I don't understand how, but Ava must have used the camera.
Is she working with the kidnappers?
Are you kidding me? How the hell would I have access to the camera?
In order to actually see what was happening on the security cameras, what would Eva need access to? Naturally, it would have to be some sort of stream. A stream, huh? Thinking back on all the discussed, I can't pinpoint anything which would provide an answer to that question. Huh. Feels like deja vu, doesn't it? When all other options are ruled out, I'll only turn towards the one which still remains. The one thing we've yet to discuss. Which is... Eva, it's time I bring an end to what you started. For better or for worse, this one will be your final lie. Argument! Argument altercation. Very nice. Okay. I hope she gets a fancy outfit like the V3 characters do. Okay, I'm glad I'm not playing right now. Ooh! Oh, this is so cool! Oh, damn!
I just wanted to help. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. I didn't see anything. It's Damon who's suspicious. I didn't see anything. Why would I kill anyone? Why would I kill anyone? Why would I kill anyone? It's Damon who's suspicious. Damon, I thought you trusted me.
I thought you trusted me, girl.
Who cares about the camera?
Oh.
Who cares about the camera? I didn't see anything. This isn't fair. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. I didn't see anything. Who cares about the camera? Who cares about the camera? Why would I kill? There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. It's Damon who's suspicious. Why won't you believe me? I didn't see anything. Why would I kill anyone? It's Damon who's suspicious. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Why would I kill anyone? I just wanted to help. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help. How could I access the security camera? Ugh.
No.
This isn't fair. I didn't see anything.
I thought she was just a gamer.
Who cares about the camera? I didn't see
anything. Real.
Why would I kill anyone? There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. I didn't see anything. I just wanted to help. Why would I kill anyone? How could I access the security camera?
It's over. Eva, we know the truth.
No! Don't kill me!
Oh, I'm
What you
sorry,
said
you
was
gotta
true,
die,
Eva.
honey.
Whether or not the trap works depends on if the killer can see inside the boiler room. Which begs the question, how does the killer see inside? They can't just get on their knees and peek through the vent. Everyone in the dining hall would notice. Besides, the vent probably offers very little in the way of an actual view of the room.
Exactly! It's impossible!
Right. It's impossible. From this particular angle. If I switch perspectives, your entire argument comes completely undone.
What do you mean?
Eva assumes I'm taking only one factor into account. Her position at the time of Wolfgang's murder. Little does she know that in ruling out that factor, she's led me straight to another. A certain item which could have granted her the ability to, like the chemical smell,
Strange. It's
only
tweaking
makes
out.
sense when all other options have been ruled out.
The game console she brought with her to the tournament.
Ava had a game console?
She wanted to get in the spirit of the tournament without being directly involved, or so she claimed. But when every other option has been ruled out, what else can we look to but the one that's yet to...
Are you saying she saw inside the boiler room using the console?
So it played live footage of the room?
Sounds like a stretch.
If I'm wrong, Ava should be able to prove her innocence. Go on, Ava. Show us the console.
Huh?
I don't think she has the console on her, dude.
She has to. She never had an opportunity to slink away and dispose of it.
What about the blackout?
When the blackout first hit, people were disorientated for about a minute at most. Ava likely spent those 60 seconds undoing the cord and moving the chair. Between then and now, she's never been alone. The only exception was when she and I split up to investigate the dining hall and the dorms respectively. However, the laundry room, dining hall, and courtyard all had people in them, so I doubt she hid the console in any of those rooms.
And the janitor closet? That room has been locked for days now. She obviously couldn't hide the console there.
Which means it must still be on her person.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, if I'm wrong about the console, you can take it out right now and show everyone its contents.
What are you waiting for? Quit hiding the stupid thing and show it!
You're just trying to make me look bad. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous of me. You're jealous of me and my talent. That's all you are.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to
Hey,
be a mathlete.
calm down. Why not just pull out the console?
Yes, show us the console and then you'll be done with this.
No!
Hey, don't yell at Toshi.
I don't have to show anyone anything.
That's the most suspicious thing you could say.
It's not suspicious. I'm telling the truth.
That's obviously a lie.
Why go through the effort of mentioning Wolfgang's blackmail if you won't reveal this?
Now that I think back on it, Ava had been staring at her console the entire tournament. I thought it was weird, coming all the way over to the dining hall when she could have just stayed in her dorm.
Well, where did she obtain this console? We should discuss those details before continuing any more with these accusations.
She said she won it from Tozu's gacha.
Seems natural you would stock that machine with dangerous items. Would this be killing me, though?
Between 14 impossible culprits and one possible killer, there's no need to sort out the facts further.
Ava, you're the only one we can vote for.
That's such twisted logic. You're going to vote for me without being completely sure I'm even guilty?
There's no need to be completely sure, if no one else can be suspected.
In case anyone still doubts Ava is the killer, I'll go through the case one last time. And once all the pieces are laid out for everyone to see, I'll prove she's the killer, once and for all.
Oh damn. Okay, Wolfgang looking kind of fine. This button. Sure. just gonna skip through this because we'll see it all in the when they go through it at the end.
Incited. This case was directly incited by the motive Tozu introduced, in which everyone here received another person's blackmail. Amidst the chaos that
I look so
spawned,
pretty here.
the killer saw an opportunity to commit a murder. They sought letters to two people, Wolfgang Akide,
Diana's
who
such
they
a
planned to
cutie.
kill, and Diana Venezia, who they planned to frame. Wolfgang and Diana were asked to meet in the boiler room in 2 days' time. Wolfgang's letter told him to arrive at 8:15 a.m., while Diana's told her to arrive at 8:45 a.m.
The messages threatened to expose our blackmail, so we had no choice but to follow their instructions.
At this point, the killer probably knew the way they were going to kill Wolfgang. Hence, how they reacted to this next piece of information. The following morning, it was revealed that Cassidy and Jack were going to hold a game tournament.
Cassidy! He's a cool guy.
The point was for people to spend time together and not think murdery thoughts. But little did we know, a would-be killer was lurking nearby. And how? The killer emboldened their own plans.
I like how
and
everyone
the
else
tournament
gets to
would
talk,
happen
or
at
not
9 a.m.
like everyone else, but other people get
Did
to
you disagree
input
with
too.
yourself?
Both Wolfgang and Diana turned down the offer, which must have been music to the killer's ears, since it confirmed their plan was working. The killer took this as a sign to commence the next phase of their plan. Later that evening, they went downstairs to the boiler room and began preparing the murder weapon.
Though it might be more accurate to call it a murder mechanism, the killer wrapped an extension cord as tightly as they could around a car battery, which had been stolen from Jet's room. I imagine the battery must have been sitting on top of the generator. Wouldn't want to risk an explosion by bringing lithium too close to the water.
The killer avoided opening the boiler room vent for this segment, probably because they knew I'd remember it being closed originally.
A crucial part of the killer's plan would involve sliding the cord through the boiler room vent and out the other end into the dining hall, so they could then walk upstairs to the dining hall and tie the protruding part of the cord to the dining hall vent.
Funnily enough, the killer was going to be needed in the dining hall very shortly.
Yeah, to help Cassidy
Cassidy
rearrange
looks
the
so
dining
cute
hall's
here.
furniture. We were saving the whole thing for next morning, but they convinced us to do it that night instead.
Their intentions were threefold: create an alibi, hide the vent with a piece of furniture, and then open the vent in secret. After which, they'd return to the boiler room and suspend the battery over the generator.
Which brings us to today. Knowing better than to head downstairs without protection,
Look at her.
Wolfgang went to the kitchen and armed himself with a knife. Toshiko didn't notice a knife on him when the two met in the hallway, so he must have hidden it in his blazer.
Wolfgang arrived inside the boiler room at 8:15 a.m., exactly like his letter requested. As he was waiting, the killer snuck up behind him.
Behind you.
And he got smacked right in the head with that steel rolling pin and crumpled like paper.
A syringe was then used to inject Wolfgang with a sleeping drug, ensuring he would remain in the boiler room until Diana arrived.
The killer might have, left the taser on the floor
I did
around
think it
this
was
time.
weird that April was so insistent about the taser being used. But that'd be like
Yeah, the
obvious.
taser they swiped from my dorm. They must have decided to raid the place after receiving my blackmail. If I'd heard about the taser sooner, I could have gotten rid of it, as well as whatever else my blackmail supposedly mentions.
Save the angsting for later, will you?
Anyway, back on topic. Wolfgang was left to lie in the partially flooded area of the boiler room, while the killer ran upstairs to help set up Mark's music equipment.
They didn't care about the equipment. They just wanted to put a speaker next to the vent, because it would drown out the fight which was gonna happen later.
Don't forget the digital clock! They wanted to get there before that became available. Don't need people knowing what time you actually arrive.
My letter said to meet at 8:45 a.m. So that's when I got to the boiler room. I made sure to close the door behind me, just as the message told me to.
Bad idea. Killer flipped the doorknob so that the lock was on the outside instead of the inside. You locked yourself in!
The room was really dark too. I didn't even see the suspended battery, only the blinking security camera. And then, Wolfgang. He got up on his feet all of a sudden, and he started crying and saying these weird things. I tried to keep him calm and asked him to come over to me, which he actually did. But the very next second, he attacked me with his knife.
The drugs probably gave him a frightening hallucination, and he perceived you as a threat.
He was screaming at me, and I was screaming back. No one from the tournament could hear us over the music. At one point, I even picked up the taser, but then I threw it back down again.
And that's when the killer decided it was time. Having set their chair to recline, they were able to casually reach down and close the vent behind them. This lowered the extension cord, causing the car battery to enter the water and discharge a huge amount of electricity. Wolfgang, who was still standing in the water, was electrocuted instantly. The battery itself exploded upon reacting with the water, which the killer was likely banking on as a way to destroy evidence. All of this happened right under my nose. No one could have guessed that someone present at the tournament was committing murder.
The explosion also damaged the generator and caused the blackout. Everyone ended up stumbling around in the dark.
Not for long, though. We quickly came back to our senses and agreed to look for a backup generator on the underground floor.
I used a hairpin to unlock the boiler room door and ran outside, but you guys had already made it downstairs.
That's when you say you ducked around a corner and out of sight. Only after everyone went inside the closets, did you then dash upstairs.
It's a good thing she did. Otherwise, we'd have found her alone in a room with Wolfgang's dead body. We would have wrongly assumed Diana was the killer, and died as a result. This complicated scheme calls to mind only one person. One person who just so happened to be sitting in a certain sofa chair.
That person is you, Ava Sunaka.
It's over, Ava. We know the truth.
I'm scared to see the execution.
It's not fair. This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
I'm really curious to know her motive and reasoning.
My blood is rushing!
Wonderful, brilliant, spectator. Spectacular. Wow. Can't talk. You have seen beyond the foul lies of the scorned mathematician and delivered the honorable truth with wit and aplomb.
Well done.
This is worthy of praise. Allow
This
me
isn't
to-
funny.
You shut up. That Toes' mad ramblings, the trial room had gone completely silent. Everyone was either staring at the floor or sneaking nervous glances at each other. Ah, I understand the reason for this frosty atmosphere. You found out who done it. So, now you wish to know
Such
why
a
done it.
spoilsport.
Very well. Each murder mystery needs a motive. Can you stop it?
Such a spoil sport.
Each murder mystery needs a motive, and I would be loath to break tradition at this stage.
There must be something.
Ava, why did you do this? Just why?
Come on.
Come on, speak up. You have nothing to lose now. It was Tozu. Huh? Tozu made me do it.
This is...
You've been working with Tozu this whole time?
Such disrespect!
Me and her. Oh, please. Her plan was to secretly infiltrate the killing game. She wouldn't. Just drink some water. She wouldn't have given herself such an attention-grabbing ultimate title.
Rubbish.
I mean, seriously? Ultimate liar? Talk about on the nose. No, Eva is just as much of a kidnappee as the rest of you.
Son of a bitch!
Shut up! You let her get away with breaking the rules? That's proven if you're in cahoots.
Holy!
Huh? Eva broke the rules? Yeah, when she blew up school fucking property.
Fuck you!
Why the fuck was I punished for chucking a rock at a camera, but Eva wasn't punished for just destroying a fucking generator?
Shit.
Is Eva the exception that Will was talking about? What? Desmond tapped the screen of his trinket and conjured a familiar square-shaped hologram. With a few swipes of his finger, he located the killing game's rules. Okay, yeah. Everyone, take a look at the second one. Students are not allowed to vandalize any official killing game property, such as the camera and Tozy trinkets. Exceptions may apply. Do you see how it says exceptions may apply at the end? Since Eva wasn't punished for breaking the generator, does that mean she counts as an exception?
Stop lying!
Are you gonna explain how? Or are you just trying to be a fucking contrarian?
This looks bad.
Well, I guess. It's probably because Ava destroyed the generator while committing a murder.
What's all this about?
Are you saying Ava has special privileges? I think it's more like her method of murder was what destroyed the generator. Meaning, the generator is technically tied to Wolfgang's death.
Yeah,
Which is why Ava was excused for breaking
Slow
it.
down.
Yo! That can't actually be the reason, can it?
I see, I see.
And if it were... I see. Eva believed she would count as an exception to that rule. Which is why she didn't take any steps to avoid destroying the generator. She was getting shot in the head over something she just assumed?
That ain't it.
No. How confidently Eva executed the murder, she must have known for sure she wouldn't be penalized. How about it, Tozu? Did you ever share this information with her?
Who? Me?
A desperate killers, much like a hungry seagull, are ready to pounce upon the slightest crumb of substance. The mere implication of a loophole ignites their senses, and they are as desperate as people always do, or they as shred their dignity in pursuit of confirmation. So thirsty. So, to answer your question, yes, Eva approached me with the same question that your friends are asking now. And yes, I confirmed her suspicions were true. Seriously?
Pathetic.
So unfair. Unfair? Answering a reasonable question is quite fair. Have you ever asked a professor for help on an assignment? Sure, your professor won't do the work for you. But they'll be happy to clear up any confusion you might have. Then why did Eva say you made her kill Wolfgang? I suppose you could say. Eva and I made a deal. A deal? What kind of deal? A deal to begin the killing game.
Impossible!
In exchange for agreeing to perform the first kill, she would receive a special perk.
Plot twist!
The traitor perk! What do you mean, traitor perk? Is it the tablet Eva has? I mean, she refused to show it to us when we asked. Mind you that I cannot simply hand over a traitor perk to anyone who asks. For a student to be eligible for a perk, they must first earn it. What do you mean by earn it? Do you recall that little tidbit I shared with you about the pharmacy? You know, the one about a secret lurking inside. You see, a very interesting secret is lurking beyond this door. So it was relevant. I completely forgot about that. That secret? Were you referring to the traitor perk? Indeed I was. When I said a very interesting secret was lurking inside, I meant that quite literally. The only thing separating me from the perk is just a few inches of stainless steel and a pin pad. Pin pad? Oh gosh! You're talking about that big door I found tucked behind a shelf.
I see.
I see. It was hiding the traitor perk all along. How did it even figure out the password to the pin pad, though? Did it enter a bunch of random numbers until it, finally worked?
Well,
A 4-digit code would have thousands of potential combinations. Unless Eva encountered unbelievable luck, the chances of her guessing that code in only a few days is extremely unlikely.
How?
Then, how did she get access to the traitor perk? The 4 numbers to unlock the pin pad. How did Eva figure them out? There's only one way. Only one way I could see her obtaining the correct answer. It's to do with that poster, isn't it? The mysterious poster in the pharmacy. Yeah? Which poster are you?
Done.
Correct. Yes, and inside one of the pharmacy's rooms is a poster which reveals the code to the pin pad.
For real?
For reals?
No.
How can that poster reveal the code, though? I knew it had to be important somehow. None of the visuals made sense, which is exactly why it caught my attention. But I didn't know what to do with that information, how to decipher what I was reading.
Pathetic.
And that is where you fell short of your mathematically gifted friend. With her keen eyesight and quick thinking, she saw the poster for what it really was. An equation. What? Every detail is deceitful. Those exclamations of grandeur may in fact be hints toward a certain something. Certain something's nature, and that large star a stand-in for a coordinate plane. Well, not that it matters anymore. The passcode to that precious pin pad is, after all, being changed as we speak. To quote the words of my parents' parents. The road to freedoms must always be paved with obstacles.
Freaking twisted!
Wait! A math equation is totally up Eva's alley. Eva told me you couldn't
Why the
understand
long
the poster.
face?
Of course she did. That equation is the key to the traitor perk. Handing it over would be handing the perk over.
Shit.
So the traitor perk was Eva's reward for solving the puzzle?
Anybody?
Heck, even is the perk? You still haven't explained that yet.
Who? Me?
I assure you, it's a very handy thing to have. You see, this traitor allows the owner access to school's security cameras using a tablet. That tablet, of course, being on Eva's person right now.
Damn it.
So I was right. You accessed the camera in the boiler room, which is how you saw Diane enter.
Oh, crud!
I thought it was weird Ava wouldn't even show us the tablet, but I didn't think it was actually wired to school cameras. Then, the reason I saw the security camera's light blinking back in the boiler room is because Eva was watching me. This is making too much sense.
Nonsense.
Ava, how could you negotiate with your kidnapper? Why would you have any reason to trust him? I had no choice. I either take this deal and give myself chance to escape, or I would die here with the rest of you.
You.
That selfish attitude is the reason why we ended up in this mess. Didn't we promise to make it out of here together? If you hadn't murdered one of the only people who could have handled the situation, we might have made progress on escaping. Even if I didn't kill, someone else would have eventually. And if they were in my position right now, they wouldn't even admit to what they've done. They'd cry and they'd cry and sniggle and try to kill too. They wouldn't be honest like me.
Watch it.
Honest or not, playing Tozu's game was risky. You were trapped in a small space with witnesses everywhere. That's a gamble you shouldn't have taken. We had food. We had shelter. All we had to do was wait for our eventual rescue from this place. But I would have died first! It was obvious from what was happening with Wolfgang. His constant jeering at me over the few mistakes I'd made, while the rest of you followed his lead. If the last trial ever happened with him around, he would have accused me of being the killer without evidence. And you all would have believed him. Shut up! It's not. Because of Wolfgang, I isolated myself from everyone else. He turned me into an easy target for murder. And if I was murdered, would the rest of you even bother to find out who killed me? There's no way you would. There's no way anyone would. You're all the worst. I hope you all rot here.
Bro,
that's cold, man.
Really let me down.
Even if we had some rough spots, I still tried to get along with you. And Diana wanted to be your bestie. In the gaming tournament, I was fine with you joining. You think a few games were enough to forgive everything you did to me? None of you actually care about me. None of you. I've never been anything to anyone. What do you mean? I care about you. Really is the same here as it is out there. I'm always the one that people hated. I didn't choose this talent. I was just doing what others wanted me to do. I was the prodigy student the adults wanted me to be. I thought I did everything right. But I still kept being judged. Everyone around me resented me, hated me because they wanted the love I received. Or I thought was love. And despite all my hard work, the UTP turned me into something I never wanted to be. Even if I wanted to return to normality, it would be impossible. I'm stuck with this talent for life. And now, when I try to become something more than a sad joke, I get hit with the realization that all my efforts were for nothing. I could never be anyone else. I'll never get what I deserve.
I don't understand.
I cared. Eva.
Stand.
I cared about you. I don't get it. Eva, why did you free me? I cared for you and stood up for you whenever I could.
Don't say that!
I wanted to be your roommate. I wanted to help you.
I don't want to.
Didn't mean anything. Why? You still agreed with everything Wolfgang said. No matter what he did to me, you kept on supporting him. Is that why you tried to frame me for his murder? Yeah, and you deserved it.
No.
Diana let out a sob that nearly fell onto her podium. Diana! Eloise ran over to Diana and put an arm around her shoulder.
How can you believe that?
Why did you have to kill Wolfgang in front of her? That's so cruel! She obviously knew what she was doing. Both the cause and the time of death were mentioned in the mock trial case. So it stands to reason they would be mentioned here too. When Eva realized that, she tried to leverage it against us. I'm sure receiving that little camera perk made it all too easy to time the murder.
Shut it!
Poof, enough of this bullshit already. So Eva's a privileged little asshole that thinks her life sucks. Who cares? Fuck you! You took Wolfgang's life. The only thing you deserve is some fucking comeuppance.
Sheesh.
I doubt she's actually telling the truth. Murdering someone because they lied about their inoffensive talent. Even she must know how ridiculous that sounds.
How can that be?
Eva didn't kill Wolfgang because she was scared. Why did she kill him?
Honestly?
Why else but to escape the killing game? I doubt any of us were ever a threat to her. In fact, it was probably the complete opposite.
Shocking.
She thought she was smarter and better than all of us. That's why she thought she could win the class trial.
My thoughts exactly.
Yes, I agree with Winona. In that case, do you reckon Eva killed Wolfgang because of his abilities as a lawyer? She herself admitted he would have suspected her if he was there. Clearly, Wolfgang was the best person to kill if she wanted to escape.
Nope.
And anyway, Eva isn't the only one who's vulnerable. There are people here with even weaker bodies and weaker minds. Anyone who is looking for an easy kill would know to target them first. Not the call-out. It doesn't matter. Even if no one targeted me, I would have died first. How so? Because of the perk. Huh? Dozu told me that if I didn't use the perk to murder someone as soon as possible, I was going to die.
Nonsense!
What? Is this true, Tozu?
Me?
Guilty as charged.
Dude, no!
Tozu never told me the number of days I had left. Just that I needed to kill Sue. If I didn't kill Sue,
This isn't
I'd
fair.
die. I had to do something. You can't blame me for that. If you were in my shoes, you would have all done the same thing.
Worthless.
It's your own fault. You're only in the situation because you took the perk. Tozu targeted me with the math puzzle. He offered me the perk when I was at my lowest point. If you guys were approached in the way I was, and offered the chance to go home, you would have taken the perk too.
Stop it!
You're just a bunch of hypocrites. You want to make me look like the villain so you must feel bad about killing me. Killing her? That's right. But I forget. If the blackened is uncovered.
Dumbass!
Enough already. I'm sick of talking to the scumbag. Get on with the fucking execution, will you? Alright. The soap opera is entertaining. I realize it's time to change the channel. Wait, don't tell me you're actually going to...
Holy!
All of a sudden, the elevator began behind us began to turn alive. The whir of machinery could be heard from the other side of the doors, raw and loud and rhythmic, like a mechanical symphony. Do not avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. I hear a lot of budget went into this. No, I don't. What's going on? This isn't happening. This isn't happening.
Blood is
The
rushing.
victor goes to spoils. Hell no. Honorable dead, vengeance at last. I don't deserve this. Even if you hate me, I don't deserve this. My arch-heritable of justice inspire fear and humility within these wretched souls.
Don't kill me!
This isn't fair. I don't deserve to die. I deserve to live. I deserve to live. And stir the hearts and minds of... Stir the hearts and minds of all those bearing witness. Ready, everyone? Let the show begin.
I want to live.
I want to live.
I deserve to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to live!
Oh, I'm scared. Here we go. And now we present the execution of Eva Suna. Oh. Enjoy the show. I'm scared. Eva, I'm so sorry. Get out of the way! Run! Oh. Oh, Jesus! This is intense. Guys, someone help her out. Fiery furnace of affliction. Oh no! Oh, this is gonna be rough. Oh, God. This is hard to watch. Oh, poor girl. This. Oh, that was horrible. Oh my god.
I can't handle it!
My entire body had seized up. I couldn't move a single limb, couldn't say a single word. All I could do was stand and stare, and mind and complete and total loss.
There's no way.
So that's what punishment entails. Let me go home. Please let me go home.
Isn't this lovely?
Goodness, talk about a heated moment. Ava could have quite a fun. For a second there, she'd almost had me believing you'd underestimated her.
Moving on.
Just
I'll
kidding.
be damned.
How can you do this? Forcing these innocent people to kill each other.
Terrible.
So judgmental. Need I remind you that this is student and student warfare?
Get out.
Just shut up already. Ava, why? You just needed a friend. I could have been the friend you needed. Why did you do this?
I can't believe it.
I think I'm gonna be sick. I
can't believe it.
don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Oh, shit!
I'm totally gonna die here, aren't I?
Can't be like this.
No one else is gonna die here. We're all gonna be okay. Come on, repeat it after me. I'm here and I'm okay. I'm here and I'm okay. I'm here and I'm okay. This is my reality. The fear of death has already been heavy on my shoulders ever since the killing game was announced. But now it completely enveloped me. I can't do it. I can't lie to myself again.
It's all my fault.
I'm not okay. I'm never gonna be okay. I could have changed things. If I could have saved her and him, Wolfgang. If I just dragged him out of the water, I could have saved him. Why didn't I save him? Diana, you had no way of knowing what was gonna come next. He's wielding a knife too. Anyone would have done what you did. Did he really bring a knife for self-defense? Usually, a comment like that would have gotten a rise out of Grace, but she stayed completely silent. We can't let it end. Wolfgang's kindness.
It
Can't
is
let anyone forget it.
how it
That
is.
goes without saying. I'm sure everyone will remember what Wolfgang did for us. I've never thought of the lengths my talent can go. The ability to change others' appearances, to be the best version of themselves. It's always been someone else who sits in front of the mirror. I've never really put myself in that place. Diana, you okay? I can't save Wolfgang, then, at the very least. Maybe I
can do this.
For him.
Believe me.
You didn't do anything wrong, Diana.
Pardon me.
Yeah. I can do this. I can fulfill the life he wasn't able to live.
Like a chameleon, I will adapt. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps and continue what he wasn't able to accomplish. I'll become something new.
Hell yeah, Diana. Tears were running down Diana's face, but her expression... Somehow, she looked determined. I couldn't understand it. Despite everything she's been through, here she was making some silly vow about continuing Wolfgang's legacy. Acting like she's a hero from a storybook. Has this girl lost her mind?
Hold on!
Wolfgang and Eva, neither of them deserved this. I won't let what happened to them happen to anyone else here.
Down.
For both their sakes, I'll save everyone from the killing game.
Kidding me.
Take this seriously, will you?
Can this get any worse?
Seems your peers aren't much in the mood for heroic monologues.
Moving on.
Anyhow, it's been a long day. The crime scene has already been cleaned up. Unless you have any further questions for me, you all are free to return to your dorms.
Get lost.
Any further questions?
Great.
Huh. Now where have I heard that before? In all seriousness,
Good
take
evening.
that as a no. Until next time, everyone. Just like last time. God damn it.
Isn't this lovely?
By the way, you're safe to ride the elevator back up. We've set it back to its default mode. What you glimpsed before was simply its punishment mode. That all let us know is lowered underground. Hey guys, should we just go back to our rooms? Aye, it's about time we draw this day to a close. Good idea. People silently made their ways to the elevator, horror and despair etched on their faces. It was clear today's events would not easily be forgotten. And then there was me. Everything I'd been ruminating over, the devastating image which had been plaguing my mind. Wolfgang's murder. Betrayal. Eva dying right in front of me, swallowed by a pit of fire. It all had retreated to the corners of my mind. The only thing I could focus on now were those 5 words. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps. Hearing those words come from Diana, after everything that's happened, seeing her raise her chin and act so tall and proud, just like Wolfgang's once did. Yeah, I guess. Pissed me off. That was something. Oh, wait. I guess he's gone from where he once was. Wow. That was crazy. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna go now, because I need to go eat dinner, but, God damn. Bye.